All right, and welcome to another episode of Math on the Rocks. Scott, what's going on with our screen right now?
We're missing guest number two. I guess that would be Cole.
That indeed would be
That's what
cool.
happens when you're important, man. You know, you
I
got
know, this
important
is so
guys.
true. So check this out. I'm going to make the labels go away, and then you're going to be gone for a second, but don't panic, because actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at you. Look at you. I know. And there we go.
There we go. All right. Oh my God.
Isn't that nice?
I got a big old dome in the window now.
I got mad skills. Took me hours to figure that out.
How far we come in 35 episodes, huh?
I know. How you doing today? We're recording a little later on Tuesday than we normally do. How are you doing?
Doing well. Yeah, it was a good. It's a kind of. It was a short weekend. I'll tell you that. And getting back after it after a short weekend is always a little bit of a challenge. You know, kind of getting the mojo back.
It was a short weekend because we were crazy busy, but then we also lost an additional hour due to springing forward daylight savings time.
I think I lost an hour on Thursday and Friday night somehow.
Yeah, I did too. Well, some of our late night episode recording, we're going to be releasing a couple of recorded conversations that we did at the symposium. We finally, had the symposium.
Do we need to flip our logo over to have it make it a black on white or a white on blacks because it was an after dark episodes? You know.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Math on the Rocks after dark. We just reverse the logo on that. Maybe I don't know.
Not a bad idea.
We had some great people come in, and it was awesome to be able to kind of capture those people that came through on those late night ones. That was really good stuff.
Well, okay, so let's take a few minutes to so the theme for this podcast, we're going to do 15 minutes of just patting ourselves on the back and really highlighting some the high points of the symposium. Let's talk about why we want people to continue coming to future California Math Council conferences, whether it's CMC South in Palm Springs, which they are already in the process of scheduling and planning.
Nice. Yep.
CMC North in Asilomar. It's always in Asilomar, but eventually I want them to move to a bigger place so they can grow. But that's okay. That's just a me thing. And that's always in December. And then in about a week, I kid you not, the CMC Central team is already going to get together to start the process of planning for next year. So let's kind of make that our little, now it's about a 13-minute conversation of how did the symposium go and why should people come to future symposiums. So I ran it. So I'm going to give you dibs to go first because I think the entire thing was awesome because I ran it. Not really true. I know there were plenty of things that didn't go quite as planned. But what was some highlights for you, Scott? Just a couple.
Man, I think the biggest thing is I love the fact that we're getting more of a breadth of teaching levels. We're getting that PK level. We're getting that 12th grade level. Some of the IHEs have popped in. We had some people from Fresno State running around. That was the ones I recognized. Cole would probably be better off hitting the local IHEs down there. That was the biggest thing. And, we fought it for, gosh, I've been on the council for so long, and I remember we've tried these K2 strands, we've tried these special ed strands, and they just didn't stick. And I think now we got something that really is moving the needle. We're getting those teachers involved, which was huge to me. I think that's super important. And then to have I had a thank you for inviting me to speak. And I had a bunch of pre-service teachers in my room, about 7 of them, pre-service teachers, kids in their student teaching or even pre-student teaching in my room. And it was great having them there. And then having them have conversations with experienced teachers at the same time to kind of get that sense of community. And I think that's kind of my transition to the fact that this is what it's about, a community of learners. And I think we really brought 600 people together as a community of learners to really experience that together.
Yeah. I'm going to echo one of your first observation. We have been busting our butts trying to get teachers of all grade levels to see themselves as math teachers, not just the high school teachers that are obviously math teachers, because it literally says that on their little badge, math teacher. But TK teachers are math teachers. Preschool teachers are math teachers. In fact, pre-service people are math teachers. And so I absolutely agree. We finally, kind of been acting on this, if we build it, they will come kind of mentality. Took a few years. But yeah, we had everything from people who weren't even teachers yet, who are pre-service math teachers,
Yep.
getting them started on the right foot. And then we had TK all the way through. And you're right. We even had a bunch of college folks from Stanislaus, kind of representing Cal State Stanislaus. We had Fresno State speakers, people from Fresno State, professors. I mean, we had it all. And I was really kind of proud of that.
I mean, and it's awesome that we get these people coming in. I love the fact that Kevin Dykman always wants to make the trip out.
Yeah.
Is he current or former NCTM?
He's officially past president now, because Latrinda is now the
dude. He has such great energy, and he comes out and he loves coming out here. And I mean, I love seeing him. We had first time we had Chris Childs out, Dr. Chris Childs out. I mean, and that guy is a mover and shaker, and I love his messaging. Joe has been a staple for us, Dr. Joe Bowler. I love having her out. But Pam Harris, I'll be honest with you, when she opened, that was a killer opening on Saturday morning. It made you kind of stop and pause and think and rethink some things that maybe some of us experienced teachers have done for quite a while, which was awesome.
Yeah. And then we had, and all of those people are members and contributing members of the community. I had like 3, 4, 5 emails commenting on the way we gather everybody together for dinner on Friday night.
Yep.
And then breakfast and lunch on a Saturday, just gathering everybody, eating together, breaking a little bread, doing a little bit of math. And that's a community. That's officially a math community. When you're eating together, doing math together at the table, you are in a community. And specifically, the way we do it at CMC, if you go to a conference, you're officially a member of California Math Council right now.
Yeah.
That may change in the future. But we'll talk about that later.
Right.
But you're a member of the community. And so now you're going to start receiving our newsletters, our email blasts, just continuing that community vibe, because it's lonely in the classroom. And you know this. You go into your classroom, you close the door, it's you, 4 walls, and 35 kids. And that can be lonely and scary and intimidating. And so joining California Math Council through attendance at a conference or a symposium is a way to, get rid of that loneliness a little bit.
Well, and there's data all surrounding that. I remember a guy, I can't remember if it was a CMC or maybe even one of the national conference, but Yuri Treisman.
Yeah.
Talking about the Berkeley study and how, these working in isolation, you're just not your optimal. It's all about the community. And that's where I think that's where Central differs than North and South. Not that they do it, not that that's a bad thing, but the breaking bread in the same room together, that's what makes Central unique, I think, in its own way.
Yeah.
Having that really sense of community, you can walk around, and it was fun to watch from the perimeter, watching people getting up from one table, going over to other tables, and going to other tables, and you see this constant mixing of people. They kind of pop up, walk around, talking in the food lines, making those connections. I mean, I've shamelessly connected I may have connected my daughter to a high schooler too, because she's looking for a gig.
Right.
I mean, but they're there, and that's what the community is about.
Yep. Yep. Speaking of milling around from table to table, Friday night's game night was
Oh,
what did not disappoint. I keep using these superlatives like the, legendary and epic and all this sort of stuff. I'm just going to say I was accurate because
oh,
Friday night was lived up to every single superlative I've ever used. Um, we had Imagine Learning with their hats and their
yes,
iron-on hats. We had Kid'em with their what was it, like roulette? We had
yeah,
Savis with their math games. And then what is it? McGraw-Hill and did their kind of like life-size Jenga. I don't know. It
yeah,
was
yep.
it,
And
it was
who was the Nerf guns? I remember the shooting gallery down the end. That
I
was
got
wild.
shot by so many stinking Nerf bullets, and all I was doing was trying to talk to the affiliate tables. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, I'm getting pummeled by these Nerf guns. Yeah, that would be Carnegie Learning that
Okay.
set that up.
But you know
Yeah,
what though? And you said it when you had a couple times to introduce it before going to game night. Hey, come see these people. No stress, no press.
yep,
Just come out, have fun, engage with our publishers. Yeah, you get a little bit of time, but they're not there. That's not the time to sit there and talk to you about textbooks. It's just to have fun with them. And it was again, I think it makes us unique
yeah,
in
yeah.
what we did at Central.
What it does
I'm
is
sorry,
it
I
removes
sound
that.
like I'm part of Central. We as in you guys. I mean, my heart lies in Central because we're in the
No,
Central.
you're in
I'm in
Central.
Central, but
No, it removes the barrier
yeah,
that often exists between the vendors who feel like salespeople, and then the attendees who feel like they have to run the gauntlet and avoid making eye contact with the vendors, as and while that happens on Friday, we can't help it because they haven't actually partaken in game night yet. My hope is on Saturday that they both the vendors and the attendees can now make eye contact, but not in a adversarial, I'm going to try and sell you something point of view, but instead they're making eye contact with like, wasn't last night great?
yeah.
Wasn't it fun shooting the Nerf? Wasn't it fun playing the Jenga and all the games? And wasn't it awesome doing the topology things that ST Math did? I mean, I could just keep going and going and going because every publisher or vendor they just outdid themselves
They
with the
keep
game.
one upping it each year, and it's funny now. I think it's become a competition between the vendors. They're like, oh yeah, I saw it. You know what? I think we can do one better than that.
Yeah.
And and of course we benefit from that because it's been fun to have that. I did run into somebody who came in a little bit after it started, and his comment was about 50 to 100 feet outside the building, you could hear it pumping and bumping in there. And it was like, oh, there's a party in here. Right on. I mean, there was music and he says, yeah, you could tell there was something fun going on in there.
And huge, I can't believe I've waited this long to say it. A huge thank you to Amplify for
Yes.
sponsoring and making that happen. They provided the beverages, the food, without all the vendors to supply the games and the game night, it couldn't have happened. Without the financial and the emotional support and the logistical support of Amplify, not to be a lackey for all of these publishers, but quite honestly, they're part of the community, and everybody who was there was really part of the community, and it was just super happy. Now here's the deal: what are the magic words to get, instead of 2,000 something, how do we get 4,000 people to come to CMC South? Instead of 1,200 at CMC North, how do we get 2,000 people? And then next year for us, instead of 600, how do we get 800? What is the reason people should, what are the reasons for people going to the conferences? What do you think?
I think it's the opportunities for professional growth. It's funny because, like, for instance, Pam Harris came a couple years ago, And I happened to miss that presentation, but my colleague that went down there with me, he came back and he was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." So I made, then she was our keynote this year, which, okay, now cool. That's getting that opportunity because someone said, "Hey, you should really check this person out. They're going to be here. They're going to come to your conference. They're going to be at this conference so close to you. You need it." The word of mouth, I think, is a big thing. Having those people that are challenging the norm,
Sure.
I think. And really those people, you want to come and listen to them. You want to come and say, that's a new take. That's a hot take for sometimes, depending on what the topic is. And that was, there were, like, for instance, we had a lot of topics on AI this time around.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
and at varying levels. And I kind of sat back in one of my sessions that I was presiding over, and I was like, holy cow, well, this could be helpful, but we talked about all the harm that could be coming from it. For instance, we actually asked one of the services, what's a mathematician look like? And ironically, it says, oh, it's not gender specific, blah, 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 blah. Then it says, and I just typed in and said, show me a picture. What did it show me? A white male.
Sure.
Sure. with a vest and a jacket and glasses. And it was like, whoa, how many stereotypes can we pack in one photo?
Right.
And that's not what we're trying to do. And and the presenter was like, this is not accurate. Right. That was kind of cool stuff like that.
So, okay. So what you're making me think of, all right. So to add value to going to these conferences, we shouldn't go to these conferences by ourselves. We should go with 2 or 3 friends from our school site, because the learning that's going to happen is actually going to happen through the conversations afterwards.
Oh,
if you go to the conference by yourself, great. There's some learning, but very little of it, I would imagine, is actually going to translate into the classroom because you're in isolation. But if you bring 2 or 3 people from your team and you try and strategically go together to some sessions, then the training or the workshop, the professional learning, continues and has a life beyond the symposium, because now you guys are talking and bouncing ideas off of each other. And so that's going to be how we grow. I just thought of it. If everybody brings an additional 2 people from their team, so that this symposium or the conference has legs beyond the duration of the weekend of the conference. All right. So it's,
and in that group, I actually ran into 2 unicorns at the conference. What a unicorn is?
No, what?
Administrators.
Sure.
I ran into 2 administrators at that conference. Unfortunately, our administrators they're overburdened, and as a recovering administrator, I'll admit the fact that, man, you got to put a lot of time in. And for someone that says, hey, why don't you come and do a Friday night, Saturday, well, on top of a week you probably already put 55, 60 hours into already.
Sure.
It was great to have those administrators there. So I think part of those teams, though, you need to have that administrator with you if you can, or learning coaches or academic, support, whatever it is. We got to continue to build teams out there at multi-levels.
Not a bad idea. Real good idea. That's another way to grow these things. Hey, I promised we're going to stop at, whatever number of minutes, and we have reached that time. Yeah. Anything quick for the good of the order, Scott?
No, thank you. Thank you for, I would tell you, this weekend was a smooth weekend. Well done well done with your team and how you built and organized this. And, you know, as a guy who started out I was actually at the conference that had 30 people out at once. To go to 600 is mind boggling. The team you have assembled that's continuing to push this and drive Central forward.
Yeah.
Pretty dang cool, man.
Well, thank you. We had an amazing crew from the Kern County folks led by Karina, Cole's staff assistant, and the army of volunteers, both Kern County people and just the volunteers in general that all signed up. My team at Merced County Office of Education, they signed up and volunteered. I mean, we had a ton of volunteers. It was great. I love watching it grow.
Were there some high school kids there too volunteering?
There were high school students volunteering.
Yeah.
They also participated in a focus group conversation with the Gates Foundation. It was so. I thank you, by the way, Scott, for your contribution, which is not only you showing up, you brought people, and you presented. So that's kind of like the holy trifecta right there.
Yep.
So thank you for that. All right, let's record again next week. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Before we got to tell everybody, if you made it this long, make sure you hit subscribe to whatever system you are currently listening to this on, whether it's Spotify, where you get the video version, or YouTube, where you get the video version, or Apple Tunes, where you get just the audio version. Make sure you subscribe. And we would love it if people down in the chat section would give us some ideas for who should come and speak at next year's symposium. I want to get some suggestions, and we'll reach out.
What brings you to this? Yeah, that'd be great to have that kind of feedback. Be awesome.
Will totally reach out to whoever people suggest. I'll call them. I have no shame.
Absolutely. Nope.
All right. Hey, I'll talk to you later, Scott.
All righty. Be good.
All right. Bye-bye now.